I'm Ann Morrison,
And I'm Blake Walton. Welcome to.
holding down the fort. I am out on the road with a Broadway tour of Kimberly Akimbo.
And I'm in Sarasota, Florida, holding down the fort. We thought it might be fun for us to share our experiences and discoveries of what it's like for Annie on the road.
And Blake back in Sarasota holding down the fort. Sit back and enjoy.
Hopefully, be part of our conversation.
So this has been
Oh,
a really interesting day. I'm so glad we decided to do this because you and I have been partners working together for so long. We're partners to the fact that we even have a son. But and we've been working in Sarasota, Florida, in the theater, also in schools, helping people develop solo theater. And now I'm out on the road doing a Broadway show, and you're holding the fort down there in Sarasota. We're having interesting experiences, and I thought it'd be fun for us to just let other people hear our conversation. We think we're being wonderful. Maybe everybody else will be bored to tears, but
we have incredibly profound uh, conversations that, yeah, finally we need to tape them, share them with everybody, and share them with the world.
why not? You know,
This
um,
time,
and this is interesting. I think I want to start talking to you with just so I don't know if I should go back to conversations we had already because it doesn't really matter. They'll always filter in wherever we are. Maybe we should always just stay in the now. And let's just talk about where we have been in this last, past 24 hours, and share from there. I'll tell you that being on the road is interesting because I'm now going to be approaching 70. And you know me, I always start saying that I am 70 before I'm there because I'm like on the Chinese calendar. So I will be 70 actually April 9th of 26, but so I feel like I'm already just say I'm 70. It's just so much easier than to confuse people. And I'm having fun playing a character that is a 16-year-old with a generic disease that causes her to age every 4 to 5 years. So she's actually in the body of a 70-year-old. And it's interesting how people from the very beginning, when it was an off-Broadway show, kept emailing and texting that there's a show written for me. And now that I'm doing it, I get it. Because I've
let's talk about
sometimes
that.
been such a 16-year-old.
Yeah, let's talk about that. This this week I've had a couple lunches and things with people I've known for a long time
Right.
in Sarasota, and um, I'm very aware because I'm actually my birthday is coming up, and
Yeah, I know. Yay.
am I turning?
Well, you're 4 years older than I, so remember, I'm
I'm,
really
I'm
69.
turning 73.
You'll be 73, right?
Yeah, you're actually 69, so I'm turning 73. And that's interesting because I thought maybe I'm turning 74.
I think you're
I don't
turning
know.
74, wouldn't you? Because aren't you 4 years ahead of me? No, never mind. Who cares? I know math is not my specialty.
Next in April, when you turn 70,
Yeah,
that'll be the year I turn 74. And
got it. Okay, yeah. Okay, now I got it. Okay. Time. It's all an illusion anyway.
this is also yeah, why I've objected for so long that you said you're a certain age because I'm 4 years old.
You can
Yeah.
do whatever. Nobody else knows. Who cares?
But I do call myself 73 too, the same thing. I've been
Yeah.
doing that for couple months, I think. So anyway, so and but that in seeing people that I've known for a long time and just that mirror and that relationship and that thinking how our relationships have changed over time. And but I think in our talks, I'm probably going to talk a little bit about Sarasota theater and my experiences here. Tell me something that tell me something you learned this week.
hmm well, that's minute by minute. I'm also very aware of my spirituality,
Yeah.
and um, and that always plays a part on decisions and stuff that I do. And what's been fun, and you and I have been kind of exploring together.
You really have.
We really have. And what's fun having us not being in the same place right now, exploring and then being able to share those experiences along with just being human beings doing the things that we follow our passion. But I think of this past week, I've really been aware of that. I am actually following my passion. And um,
Yeah, you really are.
when I get on, well, I've always felt like on an energetic spiritual level, my name Anne that my mom and dad gave me means full of grace, and that's something I took very seriously. The whole idea when I was exploring Celtic mythology and the Grail maidens, and the Grail maidens were the keepers of the Grail, which is grace, and also I was given the name by a Guru Mai when I was exploring all that stuff. The name that means one who sits on pearls of laughter. And I realized that, yeah, I'm someone who does like to laugh and enjoy the humor of life. So if I feel like I'm not in those places, I'm not on my path. We're always on our path, but I think where I'm veering off a little bit, and I go, oh yeah, I need to. If that's my permission slip to explore in this world, then I know when I'm out of alignment, and that's just something I made up, but it's fun. So this week, as I should share with you, and you already know this, when I get on stage, I like to honor anyone who's been on the stage before me, and since time is all happening at once, anyone who's going to step on the stage after me. And because I am at the moment of time with all the parallel universes, with the desire that we all can connect at that moment and have a really good show, and then just let go and see what happens. Because, something could happen that I think is supposed to happen, but I don't know what I need, you know?
Right.
So for instance, the other night I was given so many notes from the director, not so many notes, but some notes that kind of were contradictory to what she
Well,
gave me the time before, because
Jessica came back. She
right.
came back.
Jessica
Just
came back and was love. I love it. It was lovely. But I was kind of saying, do I need to go back to what I was doing before? Because she was taking notes off of a video, and then she got to see it live, and that was lovely. But one of the things she gave me was to always remember to, while I'm going through this process, to keep having fun um, with Kimberly searching, which I love because that's what Annie wants to do anyway. And so, but I tripped myself up because was trying to implement all those notes that night because that's what I do instead of
will
just
do.
taking
Yes.
it at a time.
Yeah.
And I got to the song Anagram, which I really have to think because it's a way a listing song. And listing songs, you have to pay attention because of my dyslexic brain. It's not the way my brain wants to work. So I have to really focus in that song and any song that's a listing song. So
And I just to clarify, because list, a listing song is obviously a song that lists things.
right,
So
right.
got
So
a
an
group.
anagram, she's trying to figure out her relationship with him and what she likes about Seth, who is going through creating an anagram of her name. And so she's, I like the way you see the world. I like your point of view. It's a little sly, a little strange, a little bit askew. I like the way you look at life and think outside the box, a little odd, a little off, a bit unorthodox. So she's trying to figure things out. She's searching to figure out why she likes this person, right? But in my dyslexic brain, that's listing, and I can very easily go off. So the minute I started that song, I was thinking, what's the note she gave me?
Yeah,
And
which is,
my
I understand that,
dyslexic
because
brain
that's
went
the worst thing you can
crazy.
do. Yes,
So
that's not the time to take it to remove.
no, that's not the time to do it. So what happened was I wasn't singing those words. I was doing, but apparently I was rhyming until I got myself back on track again. So
Yes,
my
it,
brain was working so hard to, so I said that. So the next line I have to rhyme that. And and the stage manager, Sean, and the musical director, Lee, got the case of the giggles. They thought it was brilliant. They said the audience would never, because you just went off, but you made it rhyme. And so Sean said to the younger folk, that's what professionals do. Professionals keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for a moment when I got off stage, I wanted to beat myself up for that.
Of
And
course.
I realized, oh no, that's what I needed. I
Yeah.
needed to do that, even though I blessed all of us at the beginning of the show, all the parallel universes and all the dimensions to have a good show. I needed to do that. And so therefore, I did have a good show on a much more different level. So those are the kinds of things I'm exploring. And I realize that well, we now understand the way you and I are exploring that every moment we're a different person. So there is no past anymore. So I can talk about that, but that Annie doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And so this morning when I woke up, I woke up a little bit earlier than I wanted to, so I decided to meditate in a way and reinforce I just want to be in the positive spin of things, you know? Things may be wacky or not where I think it's going to be, but I don't know what my higher self has decided that I need. And so I just find everything funny.
That is your go-to, and I mean it's one that I've learned too. You have your clown nose that is a good reminder anytime that it's really just a comedy,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Um, and
Anybody who's watching this, a clown nose means I literally have a clown nose to remind myself that Blake and I live in a comedy, not a drama.
so yeah, that's a great go-to. Always, laughter is the best medicine. Laughter is full of everything, and to me, it reduces something that seems like it's supposed to be very important, you know, and therefore very serious. It reduces life to
Exactly.
a reminder that
So
nothing,
this morning
nothing
in my
bad.
meditation, because I want to hear about your meditation too. This morning I was in such a lovely, uplifted state that I went right out to the botanical gardens because you can walk all around it and sit on a stone by the trees and let my druid self come up.
Yeah,
And I was so elated in that moment of feeling so good about the universe that I had to go hug a tree and allow, I love my neurodivergent friends, my persons on the spectrum that really understand how you explore consciousness in the moment, where they can allow this to be so much awareness. And we may look at that and go, what the hell are that person doing? But they are, beautifully enjoying the moment of exploring the universe just with that. And so I allowed myself to run my fingers down the bark and these incredible sensations in my fingers. And then as I was walking through the grass into the park and I decided to take a moment to really look at the texture of the plant and really look at the texture and feel the texture of the leaves in a way that I normally would just pass and just see it as a visual. I just
yeah,
allowed myself to be on the spectrum, which is a gift, and just be in the moment of it. And then all of a sudden, the sound, see the world, see the world, see the world, which is from the show. And I looked up and my heart just expanded and I went, oh my God, I so love doing this show on so many intricate little levels. So that's where I'm buzzing right now. I can't wait to see these two shows today and see what happens.
really. And what time was that? Do you remember? How
Um,
many
I would
German?
say I'm in Central Time, so it was about 9 o'clock my time, almost. No, about 8:30 my time, 9:30 your time.
Great. Yeah, that's great. Um, I was with neighbors and having coffee, but that phrase
Yeah,
came before we've started doing this today. It was earlier that same musical phrase, and I think that it shows how we are connected very very distinctly.
right.
Um, because I will often hear things that are going on with you, and you'll hear things going on with me too, in different ways. Sometimes it's distinct and it's verbal. It's and it is that music. That is, yeah. I tend to go to sleep with certain music, and I tend to wake up with phrases. And a lot of Kimberly Akimbo comes through my head because I'm exposed to it daily, pretty much in some ways. And while you were here, even on your break, you would have your rehearsal for yourself to keep things fresh, and so that music does fly through. That's wonderful. So you would say the time you have this great time off stage in any given town. People have asked me how things are going with you, and are you really tired? And tell me if this is true or not, because I say, listen, she's doing a very invigorating show. And as I know from anything that I've ever done, even if it looks like it's tiring from people sitting in an audience, you are your body is in it. You've been, that's what rehearsal's for. It's like running a marathon. You train to run that marathon. And so each night, even if it's a very, very, very tough physical show, you are very invigorated afterwards and very lively and wonderful. Um, Naturally, we get tired at the end of the day, so
Right.
there are those times
After
too.
two
But
shows, after two shows, I can look at and definitely say I'm tired, but it's more of a mental tired because
right,
you're so trying to make sure you get the lines right and all the stuff, and you're in the moment and being present, moment to moment to moment. You'll walk off stage and go, I'm tired after doing this twice a day, but
hmm
that's not necessarily age.
right, and that's a different tired anyway. It's
Right.
something that,
Yeah.
that people of the theater understand. Um, and yeah, because you're using all of your senses and for a finite time,
Right.
and then you stop that. It's
Right.
like doing any kind of job.
Right.
Um, so and also people are make this decision that because you're touring,
Mhm.
um, but people I make understand, well, she's in one place at least 1 week, sometimes two, at a time. And so she has her hotel room, that's home, and that gets established on Tuesday or on Monday night. And then she's there for that space of time. The only thing you have to figure out is where are the stores nearby, so you can fill your kitchen in any form, or um, any of those things. How close is the theater? How do you get there? And the rest of the cast is in the same hotel, so you can find each other, and that's all there. You have a family, but what it so and it's really just the day of travel where you're I mean, last time you were taking a bus, but that was the first because you're going what, an hour and a half away from each other, to different towns and in Oklahoma, and otherwise you're flying, and so tomorrow you'll be flying to Houston from Oklahoma,
Right.
and then starting there again. And each new place is yes, it's a new facility and it's a new venue. But the beauty is, and I think this is true, you're on the same set. You're
Right.
wearing the same costumes. So as soon as you are on the set, your body only knows, oh, I'm doing the show again. Here we are. Um, and
It's just
uh,
navigating the backstage because that changes from theater to theater. The wings are different, or
yeah,
the back part is different. But that's stimulating.
yeah, exactly. It's so much fun. I did a tour where we were a different place. We only played one or two places for 2 nights.
Oh,
It was one night apiece.
that's
And
that's
but
rough.
we weren't going one night and then traveling and then doing another show the next night ever. So there was time in between, which is also weird because you don't get a momentum really.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the beauty of two of this is the like a full run almost at the same kind of place. You also can't see the audience. So
Right.
it's not, it's a cavernous place, and as you do your sound check and any other rehearsal that you have on stage, you get to see what it looks like. but
And the
in
ushers as they're setting up, which is kind of lovely.
right, right. So the responses have been really fun, you said, this especially this weekend in
This week, it's
Oklahoma
interesting. So I
City.
was talking to our stage manager, the differences, because usually like for instance, like in Ohio, the audience are pretty much Ohio audiences, but we got to Oklahoma and Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma City were very different audiences. They were a little quieter in Tulsa and very raucous in Oklahoma City. Like they got every joke in Oklahoma City, or and enjoyed things that you felt a little uptightness or just a little reserve in Tulsa, which was interesting. Now we're going to go to Houston. We're going to go to three places in Texas and explore the difference of how does Houston, audiences opposed to San Antonio, opposed to Austin. And this is new for me. I hear what other people say, but it's a new show for them too. So yeah, it's fun. It's kind of fun because every night you don't know what's going to happen. You have
Exactly.
spots. Yeah.
The beauty of for those who haven't done this, the beauty of being in one venue is in one town that even Broadway's a little different because you've got a large number of tourists, so a large number of people who don't live in New York, and so it's I think it's very hard to say what a typical Broadway audience is, but you still get a similar show. You still know where the laughs are. You still know how to build something like this, um, and where it's going to land and not, and where you can change that. But it must be very very wonderful. I can't imagine doing like a farce, for instance, that noises off, for instance, in several. I can't imagine what that tour was like because they had different audiences at every different places, and you don't have music to sort of to bring a unity sort of and so people had to really pick up on that style and really get it. You might have the benefit of a star who's going to be familiar to people, so that's goes with it, but so this is it, really interesting. I'll be curious to hear what you say along the way. You already talked about Greenville and also observing in Minnesota and observing in Cleveland and then going on in Cleveland finally.
It's also
But
fun because I don't look anything like Kimberly on stage. So when I
right,
walk out of the theater, I can walk by everybody and they have not a clue who I am
right,
unless I open my mouth, and you hear my voice. But otherwise, I can just walk home. Nobody knows who I am.
right.
Although there are certain, like today, last night, I had gone a couple days before to Oklahoma City University and
Yeah,
did a master class on. We'll talk to their musical theater history class first about my experience of doing Merrily Roll Along in 1981, and then went off and did a class on how to create a solo musical and had them writing and stuff. And then two students came up to sing and then try and add their monologue into it to see what it was like. Well, Nico came, was a beautiful young man, was a gorgeous voice, and he really took to that assignment. So he was there last night with some of his buds, and promises to stay in contact because I want to see his development. So yeah, you get those guys. Otherwise, it's yeah.
okay. Didn't he say, "Oh yeah, you were 16. This is really it was
Yeah,
cool."
he
Yeah,
said, yeah, you really convinced us that you were 16.
right. That's really great. It's fun to hear it from the youngins too. I love it. So so who arranged that kind of classroom that you went into?
Actually, I did. I
Yeah.
was curious. I just reached out to some of the universities and said, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to be in town. Can I, if I'm in any of service?" And they reached out immediately, said, "Yes, we'd love you to." And that'll also happen in Houston, and Louisiana. So I'll continue to see if there's anyone interested, because that's invigorating for me.
I love that I asked that question as if I didn't know the answer, but I this I know other people are going to be seeing it. I think I'll get better at knowing that they're watching and I yeah. But I think that's really interesting. And I know that you have to work it out with PR because you have interviews at some towns that you have to so it can only be certain days, but I think that's marvelous. And I know that for us, for SaraSolo, it's really great because you're starting to get attuned in different.
Right, because you and I love to teach solo theater development.
Yeah,
I don't even know I would call it teaching. I think we facilitate.
we just yeah.
We allow people to discover. And
Mhm.
you and I usually team teach in the fall with Booker High School Performing Arts, and you're doing it on your own. So tell me a
Um,
little bit about what's going on with that.
um, it's 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 remarkable. You said something earlier that reminded me of that, and that you're talking about the people who came before you early on in our as I and I'm doing pretty much our curriculum that we've always done for the last 8 years. Um, we introduced them to people who have come before them doing solo work. And last week was the time that they were each assigned somebody, and they were beautifully enthusiastic about their star, their person, and told us all about what's going on with them. We give them they choose a name out of a hat basically, and so it's arbitrary, and it's wonderful to know when it really that person jibes with them, you know, that they really pick up on their form. And
What are some of the people that they picked this year?
John Leguizamo, Bette Midler, uh, Sarah Kay, um, uh, great. You're asking me to say names, folks. I used to be incredible about names, and it's why I became a casting director for a short time,
You are
because
so good
I
at
could
it.
somebody and remember all this stuff. So, but these days when asked to list, um, but let me, yeah, I mean, and the key to that really is to think about how who the student was and how invigorating it was for them, and that's why some of those people came up right away, um, yeah, but others.
Yeah,
So they are a variety. Bill Bowers was it was a wonderful thing, and um, what I'm relating to now too is we're saying the people who came before. And with many of the people, I have a connection.
right.
Uh, throughout my, you know, long time in the theater community. I want to say my career, 50-year career, because I don't represent it that way. I've been in the community for so long, and I've done many things within that time. Um, and but I've had a chance to either experience them or meet them or come into contact with them. And some people we are people we've worked with, and that's really kind of cool too. But I just for people who don't know what we do, I'm the first couple of weeks I get to I think the students know I'm doing this. I get to read them as they come in the door I watch them distinctly see how they behave. And I mean not behave nicely. I mean see how they act. And I get them talking as much as possible and in front of all. And if there's a question, I try to get different people to answer it so that because we always have the me. But I'm at a stage now where where they're starting to do some writing exercises. That'll start on Tuesday, um, where they start really delving deeply into writing, and it's all based.
We give prompts.
Yeah,
You and I can decide a prompt for the day, but then we also get stimulated by what's going on in the class and create a prompt right on the spot, which is fun.
Absolutely, and it's fun. And some we've given every year because and some of those prompts cause writing that happens finally in their final piece.
Right.
What they are doing throughout the semester is slowly coming together in their mind and using all the writing that they're working on, either in classroom in exercises or finally at home, and creating a piece based in themselves.
Right.
Um, but uh, Oftentimes it is borrowing from different modes of
Right.
solo,
Right.
which we encourage. And so they're at that stage now where um, they're starting to get the idea. But it's funny because we know what it, and some of them have seen the outcome. They saw the juniors last year, or the year before. So they get an idea of what can be accomplished. But um, we, this, how can I say this? Yeah, this isn't about storytelling, per se. It is. We call about your personal story, yes, but this is more about exploring your memory, exploring your personal story, understanding that we introduce this idea that memory is a memory of a memory of a memory. Memory is your
So in a
last.
sense, when you think about it, Blake, it is fiction.
It is fiction, and
It's that the person doesn't exist anymore. Yeah.
that gives us more permission. And what speaking of permission, we give them permission to fictionalize their memory, um, because we are told societally, we're told, well, if you're telling your truth, and it's the factual truth of what really happened to you, and
It doesn't exist
for
anymore.
one thing, and kind of who cares about that really, because it's just a stepping off point, to something that is fictionalized, and it's always going to be based in your truth, and that's where they don't get away from that
No. And
because
it's,
they're
these
starting with
are
their
these are
truth.
16 and 17-year-olds who are in a time where we don't really teach critical thinking. Thank
Yeah.
God for the theater because it does.
Yes.
Um, but so they have to kind of explore, maybe for the first time, the possibility of what their truth is.
Exactly.
And that's a kind of profound and interesting thing. And it always surprises you and I actually how deep 16 and 17-year-olds can be if you allow them
I mean,
to voice that. Yeah.
and this says nothing against any creative writing courses they've had, and any other schoolwork. But we had a student who, like a couple years ago, who just exclaimed after she figured out what we were doing. She said, I can write anything? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Because it's not for us, and it's actually not for anyone else. It's for them. They're going to choose what they want to say and what they can say. A lot of them say a little more than they expected to about who they are. Most of them do. But it's that, but it does come from a truthful place. And
Purified.
we redefine truth again and again and again.
Exactly.
Um, and they are allowed
Yeah.
things. They're allowed to, you know,
Go as
n-
far as they can.
yeah, and grammar doesn't have to be there. I mean, that's in our class. It's understood that this is your way of writing, whatever that is. And
And also we want them to be also um, find their aha moment so that they can, as if they were discovering something for the first time in front of an audience.
yeah,
And so that's a wonderful little thing that they can learn. But also, what's interesting about them is that even though they're doing that, because it's the first time in front of an audience being vulnerable, they really do have an aha moment.
yes. So
Surprising.
and this is what we come to this thing, and it's so much fun to face face this new class,
Right.
because I was a little teary the first day
Yeah.
because I knew what they were going to get to. And we see students change. For people who have never seen this before, we have a presentation in January. We have 2 nights, and we've seen students on the first night who have walked the tightrope, and they go to the next night, and they're different.
Other class members, yeah.
And they're a little bit wiser, a little bit older, a little bit something, a little bit surer. And that's the beauty too, to see people who are surer
Yeah,
and
and then
who
their post-mortem that we have, they all discovered that they actually bonded as a class.
exactly. And um and then that happens the second night. So
Yeah.
then there are and that's way down the road, and I will keep you abreast of how they are faring with that. Um what's also amazing for me to walk into that school always, especially in the fall semester, is that we're seeing our seniors who were juniors the year before. Um, we know them so distinctly that that it's rare. It's just so rare. And then we see, I mean, we have students who are now out of college and
Still stay connected with us,
know
which I
them
love.
and we stay connected.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. So that's really great. Um,
We also got the reflection back from faculty that they really got to know their class for the first time.
yes, yeah, we've had that several times. Especially Manhattan School of Music and other places in New York. I love that. And so there we have it. It's kind of fun when you say the 16, 17, because it's kind of fun that you are portraying this age.
Right.
And, so some of it's in you, some of it's intrinsic, some of it comes from observing this age group for so many years,
Right. Right.
so distinctly, and knowing how they think. How has that?
Well, I've discovered that, me, I like to also find gestures and
Yeah,
things. Um,
right.
and so I'll have a little tip to my hat to a Maddie or somebody else by one little gesture, a little foot thing, or a little something that I doesn't matter. It's for me to connect to a 16-year-old. And 16-year-olds are interesting because there are times when they're very sophisticated, and then there are times when they're almost like 12.
Yes.
They go back and back and forth, and it's trying to find that balance.
Mhm.
Like it's when you go, Mom, because that's still there, it's an interesting little balance. Plus, Kimberly, which no one really likes to talk about, if she's in the body of a 70-year-old, that means her prefrontal cortex is in, which usually doesn't reach most people until they're around 25. And she's got it at 16. And no
How
one
does
really talks
that
about it.
how does that change our thinking for those who don't know that?
Well, that means your executive functioning part of your brain, where you monitor more your impulses and make executive decisions about stuff, are kind of finally locked in a way based on your personality. Some people, it's a little bit like if you're neurodivergent or might be a little bit later because of the way they explore, but usually around 25, they say, is when
Mhm.
that finally pops in. And so when I look at that, Kimberly is really kind of has to be the parent for her parents. Um, and I think a lot of that is because her prefrontal cortex is there. There are times she can be like a teenager, and there are times she has to be the adult. And that's also true with most young people anyway, if they're in a dysfunctional family. But it's just another, the audience is never going to, it's something that I'm constantly exploring nightly. Where is that popping in and when should
And
it pop in?
that is
Yeah,
that's so complicated, first of all, but it's so
yeah,
interesting
yeah,
because that's like there was a time when you played a woman playing a man playing a drag queen.
right.
A woman playing a man playing, it's like Victor Victoria. exactly. Because a bit, that wasn't the show, but you did that. And that's complicated because yes, a man would be play this character in drag this way, but this is a woman playing I mean, whatever that means.
Exactly.
So you have this knowledge of 16, um, as you have observed it, as you understand all of that. You also have to consider the fact that she is in an older body. I'm just adding this up.
Right.
And yet, um, you're working with Jessica Stone and even Sean, who's, Sean as a stage manager is the one who has to keep the house clean. He has to keep the show alive and moving. And just as your conductor has to keep the music, all the music that's on stage, that has to stay uh, clean. And I mean clean by just things have to stay sturdy and good, and the way rehearsed. So, um, uh, but you and Jessica have worked on this idea, and she had to do this with all the Kimberlys, with also Carolee and Victoria, but working with how does this 65 to 70-year-old woman be 16? And what are the ways that that means, and how do you be it?
And
Or
every
how,
Kimberly, they have to have another way of exploring. Like Victoria, as I hear from Jessica, had to do certain things to get that, which was different from um, Carol Lee. And then
yes,
when I came into it, I have my own thing. And so they were beautiful to allow every person who comes into Kimberly to explore the Kimberly they would do. And
position.
so, yeah, right.
Um,
So it's interesting.
um, and how do you do something when you're singing? Are you aware of that as well when you're singing, or does
I,
the music
um,
just inform
I
you?
have a lighter quality,
Yeah.
really.
Uh-huh.
Um, and there was something that was said by Janine Tesori and also Jessica that when they were creating Kimberly with Victoria and stuff, they were figuring out that there are times in musically where she does sing like an older woman.
Yeah.
This, this is this is her this is her
Yeah. Her vocal
instrument.
cords, just like her prefrontal cortex is here. Her
Yes,
vocal cords are
and
here.
there are times where that shifts a little bit and becomes a little bit
Yeah.
younger. So it's
Yeah.
finding the balance of when. So it's like when she's private, um, she is more youthful, and
Yes.
she's with everybody else, we get the older voice. So
Victoria did it. I mean, she did a phenomenal study and job of that. And that is the distinct what she has said. I've heard her say in interviews too, that yes, she can sing differently when she's talking to people, and she sings her. It's not a head voice, but the voice in her head, or the voice that she is in private, can be a different kind of thing.
right. And
Um,
for me, it's like when I get to the song Before I Go, when
yes,
there's a realization that her dysfunctional family, she has to let them go. Which is it's she's there no one's gonna grow. They need a way to grow if they keep the dynamics that they're in. And that's a very mature understanding.
yes.
Very mature understanding.
Mhm.
So the quality of singing that song is much more mature because for me, it's understanding, it's an aha moment, and it's letting them know. And because she's so in the truth of what's happening and finally saying what it really is, they surrender to it. They have to surrender to it. Well, they don't have to, but they do, which is such a beautiful moment in the show.
Wouldn't you
So,
say, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that David Lindsay Bear, who wrote the lyrics from his book, um, and it's all converted. It's all I mean, it's all adapted from his play. Um, there probably is something remarkable about his lyrics, and you as playing it, have you discovered that there's an arc? to his lyrics too. And I mean, you say this already. You say that there's a maturity, and that song is toward the end of the show. Um, there's something that she's learning, um, and knows. Um, so his perspective must be um, wonderfully. I mean, the first song that we hear her sing is a teenage song. It's wonderful, you know. I mean, Make a Wish, but there's a depth in it too, um, about wishing for something very simple.
Yeah,
Uh,
being determined to try and
yeah,
figure out what is it, what is it, what is the last thing that, what's the wish I need to have? Is it
right.
this? Is it this? Is it? Until she finally, because she's so in the moment of it, that what's so beautiful about being human
Yeah,
is that the truth pops out
yeah,
and it's always a surprise.
yeah.
And then you can live in the joy
Hmm.
of the discovery of that aha, this is what it's really about. And then how she handles it at the end of it is, I don't want to give it away, is a wonderful little twist.
Yeah, we should talk about spoilers at different times, or just say this
We should
might be.
probably wind this conversation up because I want us to continue this every Sunday if we can.
Yeah.
And then we can, because we'll have another week and I want to learn more about what you're working on too.
And
Um,
you have two shows today.
I probably should stop talking now.
You should. I have a rehearsal tomorrow night, and we'll
Okay.
talk about
Okay.
what
Yeah, I want to
we.
hear about the rehearsals. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is fun.
Okay.
We'll see how this goes. Great,
I
great.
am going to go, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going
Oh,
to,
you know what? Before we go, um,
before we go.
let's think about one thing, one truth.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe we each have a different truth.
That we can explore for the week.
Yeah, or that we did. But yes, how we're going into the week. I My truth really is, it's similar to what I'm hearing you say, that Kimberly's truth is she listens. That's her growth. She watches, listens. I have to do that a lot with both the class that I have this week and the rehearsal I have. As the director, I'm going to be looking for, but I think what it is for today, it's that laughter, is I want to go to laughter first. I want that to be my go-to place.
Right.
Um, that when something seems like it's a concern, let's try laughter. And it's a wonderful stabilizer, and it's a wonderful, it makes things medium, and it makes things, you can go forward with that. So maybe it's about laughter.
And things go very fun. I like to just jump up and down the dressing room going, I'm having so much fun. I'm having so
Yeah,
much fun. I'm having
yeah.
so I love my life. I
That
love
is
my life. I
laughter
love my life. I
too.
love my life.
Great. So let's all go out there and have fun.
Yeah, let's all have fun. Let's love our lives and have so much fun.
Great. Okay.
Next time, kiddo.
All right.